Hello everybody, my name is the Dynamo Doctor, and today we're going to be talking about how to play Dynamo Roller. The good thing about Dynamo Roller in this game is the fact that it has so much range. Its range, I'm pretty sure, got buffed from the second to third game, and it's pretty good. It's not as good as Fling's a Roller right now, but it is pretty good. The best way to use the Dynamo Roller is to aim around corners, not like wall corners. You can do that to surprise attack, but mostly angles. If you have an angled platform or even just a regular platform, it's really easy to kill the people on top of it when you're in a disadvantaged spot down below as a dynamo. It's extremely easy. Just do a horizontal swing, then hold the B button, and you can do a jumping horizontal swing. It's really easy, and it really does work a lot. Vertical swings are great for killing a line of enemies in a row. Rarely that happens in Splatoon, but it's always good to know, just in case. The nuance that Dynamo has isn't like Flingza, where you have to manage where you have to go. Generally, Dynamos usually just stay around mid. They're an anchor without being an anchor. That's pretty much how it works. Your kit for the Dynamo Roller in Splatoon 3 is the Sprinkler and the Tacticooler. The thing about the Tacticooler is it's great for weapons that need to support their team, like the Dynamo, because they can drink the drinks, and if they get killed, they almost instantly respawn. So it's a great comeback strategy. If you have teammates that die a lot and you need to come back from something, you can put that down, they can all drink it, and they'll all come back, and you'll all be together in one solid group coming back and pushing all at once. It's great. It's a great ability. It increases your movement speed. I can't remember what else it increases. But I know it increases a lot more than just movement speed. It gives you a lot of quick respawn just for one death, sure, but it's still good that you get it. It's got a lot of benefits, and so you want to be able to use that as much as you can without taking away from the fact that you are supposed to be killing at the end of the day. The Sprinkler is still one of the more uneventful, not very useful subs in Splatoon. The problem with Sprinklers, it doesn't paint enough, and it doesn't paint it fast enough for it to make much of a difference. But like in some of my other videos, I'm going to explain what Sprinkler is anyway. Sprinkler is, as you guessed, a sprinkler. You can use it to paint areas that your enemy needs to advance, stuff like that. If you put it up in a high, hard to reach spot, it's going to be a lot easier for you to bank off the fact that the sprinkler's there, and it's going to farm points for you in the background if it's a very contested spot. The best way to use a sprinkler, in my opinion, is probably going to be when you die and you need spawn painted still. Like, we're talking in the middle of a match, probably a minute or so in. If nobody has painted spawn, every time you respawn, you should throw a new sprinkler down in a different position, and that way you can farm the points to get your Tacticooler special and use that while also painting spawn, which is always a benefit. So in conjunction, you should be using Tacticooler as a result from the AnQ gain, mainly using Sprinkler. Now, I'm not saying you should go around the map throwing sprinklers everywhere. I'm not saying that. I'm saying your sprinkler should definitely be a helping cause in your special game, because it doesn't have much else to do. But I will say, there is one combo, it's for Brellas, but if you use it for rollers, I wouldn't be surprised. If you throw a sprinkler, and I know you guys can roll over it, but if you throw a sprinkler over a spawn jump circle, and you do it just right, before you even launch your horizontal or vertical swing, by the time they land, they could honestly instantly die from it. Now, you might be saying, oh, dude, around Doctor, the dualies and the Brellas can avoid that. While that is kind of true, the Brellas can't avoid it if they hold back on their stick before they land or after they land or something to avoid their fate, and dualies can just dodge out of the way. Like I said, you can always use your roller. If you use your roller, they're not escaping. It's like a plan B. Try to get the first one first, because ain't nobody like it when you die from a sprinkler. So if you can get somebody to die with a sprinkler, that's like a path of right. liked. Everyone's gonna think that, man, how did I die from a sprinkler? I can't believe it, and it's just overall an okay kit. I think Tacticooler worked for it, but I think it still could be more useful if it had a bomb, and that's coming from someone who used Sprinkler 90% through his life on Splatoon 2. Like, bombs are way better at dealing with enemies than little sprinklers. The best gear for the Dynamo Roller is probably going to be Ink Saver Main, Ink Recovery Up, Swim Speed Up, Ink Resistance, Last Ditch Effort, and Drop Roller. The reason for Ink Saver Main is because of the fact that the Dynamo just uses a crap ton of ink. That's the only reason. Because you're going to go through maybe 4 or 5 swings before you have to refill the whole entire tank. The reason I said Ink Recovery Up is because of the same reason. It's going to eat a ton of ink just in general. So if you empty your whole ink tank, it's going to be an absolute hellscape trying to refill it fast enough to be able to actually make a difference in the game. So yeah, you should use it in conjunction with Ink Saver Main, because why wouldn't you? You're going to need your ink as much as possible in Splatoon, and that goes for every weapon, but Dynamo, it's especially useful information because you eat ink. So yeah, that's a no-brainer. Another no-brainer is Swim Speed Up. It's a heavy weapon. Heavy weapons slow you down by, I think, roughly 3 or 4 subs of swim speed. I can't remember. It could be more, it could be less. But I think generally Swim Speed Up for heavier weapons is good, especially if you have to play like a normal roller, like Dynamo sometimes does. It helps having that mobility and those movement options available and not be locked off just because you're a bit too slow. The reason for Ink Resistance is because I've had multiple times where I've tried to escape, an enemy team has been attacking me, I've tried to escape, and I've accidentally used a horizontal swing to get out instead of a vertical one. It's very easy to do. I've done it way too many times to count. So Ink Resistance can help because if you're in a pickle, if your whole team pushed and they all died except for you and you need to get your butt out of there, you can. And whether you do a horizontal swing or a vertical swing, I know the vertical swing is a good path, but the horizontal isn't. Whether you do either of those, regardless, it's going to help you get out, because if you run into enemy ink or you have to tread through it, you're going to be able to do that a lot faster. Sure, it's still going to be slow, but you're going to be able to do that a lot faster if you have ink resistance. Plus, it'll take a couple more shots for, I think, the enemies to kill you. So it helps a lot, especially when you're in those types of situations where you really need to get out. Last Ditch Effort is good all around just because of how much ink it gives you. It's just really good, just overall. It should be used on most weapons. Not all of them, I wouldn't say, but most weapons it's very useful for. It gives you a lot of ink at the end, which is great for Dynamo. It does a bunch of other stuff that I really don't remember, but it's extremely useful, and I would put it on your kit for Dynamo at least once. Well, only once, because it doesn't stack. Don't put it on more than once. You'd be wasting space that way. The reason I said Drop Roller is because of the fact that, again, Dynamo has extremely limited movement. What we're trying to do is get Dynamo to a spot where it's on par, movement-wise, with some of the normal weapons. Not all of them, because some of them are going to be super light normal weapons, and they're going to have a lot of swim speed and be super fast. But, you need to be at least somewhat mobile as a Dynamo Roller. And the reason for Drop Roller is you can use that if you're in a pickle and you know you're going to die. If you super jump and you do super jump, then you can use the Drop Roller to avoid that fate at least a little bit. Maybe get a roll swing off, a horizontal swing off, and be able to kill your... I can't say the la-da-da-der... I can't say that word on YouTube. It'll demonetize me. But you can kill them, and then you can try to get back to a safer position. The best stages for the Dynamo Roller are going to be Eeltail Alley, because of the fact that it has that ramp. Well, not ramp, but more platform in the middle, and you can bank off having that horizontal swing be so wide, and you could hit enemies below if you aimed it right, and it's very useful. The next one is Hammerhead Bridge, because of how wide the middle section is. It's not very wide, but you get my point. Because of those side areas on mid, you can take advantage of the fact that you have that horizontal swing that travels so far, and you could stay on those side platforms, more so just the sides in general. You can stay on the sides and use the horizontal swing to hit people that are trying to push in the mid. Sturgeon Shipyard, it's great because it's Sturgeon Shipyard and Dynamos rock on stages that have a ramp in them. It's just good. That's it. It's just good. Sturgeon Shipyard is great for Dynamo. Probably the best stage in the game for Dynamo right now. Two other stages that I could say are good but not great for Dynamo are probably going to be Mako Mart, because it's Mako Mart. It's pretty decent for most weapons, but it's a little tight for Dynamo, so I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's good. And Wahoo World, only because Wahoo World has vertical platforms, like it has that lower circular area that spins, and it has that upper area with mid that doesn't, and it's good for Dynamo because you can take advantage of how much range it has, but it's not amazing because it's so flat. Don't get me wrong, it's not like 100% flat. I'm talking about you can't hit the upper platforms very easily from the bottom platform. That's what I mean. It doesn't have a lot of availability for ink to travel, so that's why I wouldn't say it's amazing. It's okay. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. My name is the Dude Run Doctor, and I will see you later. Bye.